This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of The Empty Chair for the Addict that didn't know that recovery was possible. Tonight's special. It's kind of candid because we're coming to you live from my home. I'm actually in quarantine. I'm not sick, but I have to quarantine for 5 days. So welcome to my home, and my two speakers that I have with me this evening, they're in their home. So this is kind of the way we have to do this show, which I think it's fun and intimate, although I would like to be sitting next to Jennifer and Nikki. This is how we're doing tonight's show. So welcome to my happy abode. And I just want to start off by thanking always those that sponsor us. So as the show goes on, and you'll see little banners underneath, these are the individuals, the organizations that help sponsor us. They make it possible for individuals to go into sober living. We take the funds that they bought by purchasing that banner, we'll put it into a scholarship fund. So if there's a man and woman who want to continue their recovery and they don't have the finances, we're able to scholarship them. So we're very blessed to have each and every one of them. So I just want to say thank you to Phil and Fran of Circle of Hope, Cornerstone Services, which is my good friend John Croto, Cheryl Parent, and all the girls at Enterprise Bank. A big shout out to Orazio from Essex Companies, LLC. They do flooring, cabinetry, all kinds of stuff. Also want to give a shout out to Danny Sinclair of Essex County Outreach, which is 34 police departments collaborating together to help combat the opioid crisis. I want to thank Greater Lawrence Family Health Center, Haven of Hope, Lawrence Methuen Community Coalition, Sid Harris Methuen Events, Patrick and all of those at Tidal Boxing Club in North Andover, Top Seal Addiction, and Bob and Andrea Surratt at the Alternative Home Healthcare. So thank all of you for being our sponsors and for believing in MVP ASAP and supporting us in our missions. We do have some events that I like to talk about as well. There is an event called Sober in the Snow. It's happening the last weekend of this month, and it is happening in East Stoneham, Maine. If you're interested in attending Sober in the Snow, they snowmobile, snowshoe, cross-country ski. Typically, at the end of the day, we would have an open dining, and everyone would bring a meal down and we would share. But due to the increase of COVID, they're not going to be doing that this year. I think they're going to be focusing more on the fire outside and having individuals, their meetings out there. So if you're interested in attending Sober in the Snow, you can call Evergreen Resort in East Stoneham, Maine, and their number is 207-928-3300. Also, every week we have Celebrate Recovery. That is a Christ-centered 12-step base recovery program. And on Tuesdays, it's hosted at the Rock Church in Plastown, New Hampshire. And in Wednesdays, it is in Lawrence, Massachusetts. If you need information regarding Celebrate Recovery, you can reach out to me and I can give you all the information that you need. But that is Tuesday in Plastown, New Hampshire, and Wednesdays in Lawrence, Mass. We also have an amazing Ray of Light Cafe. This is a recovery cafe right down at 92 Merrimack Street in Haverhill. They have meetings Monday through Friday at noon. Friday evenings, they have Drop the Rock, and I believe that's at 6 or 7, so I'd have to double check for you. And at Sundays, they have a speaker meeting. Actually, Saturdays is the speaker meeting, and Sundays, they do a big book study, not the big book step study. So they just study the big book, which is really helpful. For more information on that, you can reach out to Diana Teal, or as always, you can reach out to me as well, and I will get you the information. So tonight's show might be hard for some people to hear. Every January, Merrimack Valley Prevention and Substance Abuse Project, we acknowledge the Human Trafficking Prevention Awareness Month, which is the month of January. These individuals that come to speak, they share their testimonies of how they got themselves out of this horrific sex trafficking, human trafficking ordeals that they were in. So it's not an easy show to watch, but it is so important that we continue to bring awareness to it because it's happening right out our back door. There's an estimate of 24.9 million adults and children that are trapped in the multi-million-dollar industry of sex trafficking. Tonight, we have two amazing women who fought for their freedom, and they will testify on how they escaped, and by doing so, they hope to help others. Jen experienced sexual abuse at a young age, and she knew it was wrong, but she didn't know who to reach out to help for. Nikki was a victim of sex trafficking and has been out of the game for over 5 years, and she will be telling us how she survived. Typically, we dedicate the show to someone who lost their lives to an overdose. However, because tonight's show is so different and it's a different topic, although addiction is part of their story, tonight these ladies, they would like to dedicate the show to people that are living. And the first one, Nikki would like to acknowledge Anita Lynn. Anita, she appreciates you walking with her on her journey and standing by her from the very beginning. She said, even though you don't see eye to eye, she appreciates you and she loves you, especially your unconditional love and your acceptance. And Jennifer would like to acknowledge her sister, Alyssa. Alyssa, for always being there for her. If she's listening tonight, Alyssa, you are very much loved. She would like to acknowledge and thank her for hiding her in the closet until she could get into treatment the following day, which is a huge thing to do because she could have gotten thrown out. But Alyssa, if you're listening, she says that she's here tonight because of you, and she hopes someday that you'll be there. She wants you to know that she's there for you as well. So Alyssa and Jennifer, tonight is for you. I'm Alyssa and Anita Lynn. Tonight is for you. So welcome, ladies. Welcome to this evening. Thank you. I'm going to bring on Jennifer. Jen will be our first speaker to share her experience, strength, and hope, and talk about Jen, how did you get caught into this? How did your addiction start? How the hell did you get out of such a horrific lifestyle? So please welcome my sister in Christ, Jennifer.
Hi. I'm totally not crying.
No.
The thought about where I was like over 5 years ago and just to where I'm at now, and any topic talking about my sister because she's not living a lifestyle that I'm living, it hurts. And yeah, I just want her to know that like I understand because I've been there. And I don't know, I just remember from a very young age just feeling very confused as to like why I wasn't feeling safe or secured or protected or loved, and I just never felt worthy. I never believed in myself, and my innocence was taken at a very young age. So it just really had me so confused on the meanings of things such as love or respecting your body or any of the things that come along with being in an intimate relationship. And I don't mean like with a significant other, I just mean in general with people. I didn't understand what it really meant to be genuine. The world that I was perceiving was my reality, but it wasn't reality, if that makes sense. There was just immediate trust issues. And like I said, I was just very confused. And I didn't like myself. So what I was going to try and do was gain approval through others. And the disease of addiction has no boundaries. And it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter that my father was a provider and I never wanted for anything. And like I was taught responsibility at a very young age. If I wanted something like a cell phone, I had to start working and I had to pay for it. And it wasn't that my family didn't have the money for it. It's just that they instilled principles in me. And I'm grateful for that. I excelled in school. I was involved, student council, sports, and it was all just for love and approval because of how low I felt about myself. Even when everything looked great on the outside, there was still something inside me, like this hole, but it's like a black hole where it just keeps like taking and taking and taking all of this validation, but it's just like going in and out. It's not staying, and I'm not providing it from within. And there was no coping mechanisms that were healthy for me to get through those traumas as a child. So like they just continue to progress with me. I remember using substances when I was, I think, as early as like 11 or 12. And I'm not gonna lie, like it was fun. It did its original purpose, and that was to like escape the pain that I didn't know how to deal with. I had no identification as to who I was because, again, I wasn't doing anything for myself. So I feel like I was kind of just floating, like just like bopping around and, you know, just getting direction from everybody else. But because I didn't know what I really wanted, it never really felt like I had a purpose on this earth. And it just kept snowballing into this big negative image. And I got through school, I graduated, I was able to manage my life, even with not dealing with trauma, getting good grades, excelling in school, having a really big social life. Like I was a very social person and always laughing, but I was just like dying inside. And I really just felt like that was kind of like what everybody else was doing, but maybe they could just hide it better. And I proceeded to go to college because I was told that education is very important. So again, it was for the approval of someone else, and it was for love. And like, I don't get me wrong, like, I love school, I love learning. I know that now because I have some sort of identification of what I like what's my favorite color. But all of these things, like it was whatever somebody else told me. And around the time I graduated college, like it was completely different from when I first started using. I had seen what substances would do because I watched my sister. I watched her withdraw. And like physically, I knew where substances would take me. I didn't know the emotional and the spiritual bottom that I would go to, but I thought I was at such a low that there couldn't be a lower bottom. So I didn't care. And I want to say like around 2012 was when it got like really bad. And that pattern of accepting unacceptable behavior and trying to get the approval and validation from others and the low self-esteem, it just caused me to accept things like abuse or being cheated on or being hit. And like, don't get me wrong, I also did it back. I didn't know any better, you know? And I knew it wasn't right, but at the same time, like I didn't know how to have healthy relationships. And it left me like so secluded and so alone and homeless and no money. And I remember it being like freezing cold outside and trying to cover myself with a blanket to have my breath keep me warm. And it did, versus if I didn't have the blanket, but still, it's not a life that I would wish on anybody. But at the same time, I did not believe in myself to be worthy enough to live a better life because of those things that happened to me, because of what I didn't unlearn. And then when my worth was low and then it got lower, then it went to the lowest, I suppose. When you're getting high, you run out of money, you run out of resources, you burn bridges. Sorry, I'll keep it on me. I run out of money, I run out of resources, I burn bridges. I don't care about anybody else. I don't even care about myself. I just care about getting high. There was no value to my body. There was no value to sex. It was a manipulation tool. And I used it to continuously keep getting high. And this is not easy talking about in front of God knows how many people are watching. But like we were talking before the show, where it's like, the reason why I do this is because I am living proof that wherever someone else is at, even if it is the lowest point in their life, you are worthy enough to pick yourself up and have a life you don't even realize is attainable for you.
Amen.
It's not easy to sit here and say, like, I sold myself for money in order to keep getting high. I wanted to get high because I didn't want to feel. It wasn't working. So what did I do? I kept using more substances, and the shame and guilt from the people that I hurt from using substances, the shame and guilt from doing the things that I needed to do to continuously keep getting high. The drugs were there to cover it up, but they wouldn't. And then it got to a point where it's like, it didn't matter how many substances I had in front of me. It just wasn't doing its original purpose anymore. And then I got to a point where it was just like, well, look at all of these things that I've done. How can I ever recover from any of this? I'm going nowhere. I'm a waste of space. I can't undo any of the pain that I've caused to others or to myself. I can't take any of this back. There's no point for me to even wake up. Like, I would pray that I wouldn't wake up, because I couldn't even get out of bed without getting high. And I was just accepting that I would probably like overdose or I would die of the lifestyle. So like, I had to have a conversation with Jasmine, because like from Jasmine Grace Outreach, because my story is different than hers. I was like, but I did it myself. Like, I didn't have a pimp. And you know, it was my choice. Like, it's not trafficking. She's like, it's the commercial sex trade and exploitation. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter where I am. I'm going to say, like, I don't belong here, because that's internal, where it's just like, I can't help anybody. I don't belong here. But the reality is that it is everywhere. You know, I remember thinking it was like the movie Taken, where it's like someone's gonna stuff me in their trunk and like snatch me up, and like I was gonna be like shipped overseas. It's like, no, I don't want to say consistently do social media posts for Jasmine Grace Outreach. I try and stay as consistent as possible because life is very busy. But I did a lot of stats last January, and I remember finding a map of reported cases of human trafficking in the United States. And it's everywhere. And that's just what's been reported. And it does not look like the movie Taken. It can, you know, but also it could be right in front of you. And like, I might not even know. And that's why it is so crucial to raise this awareness where it's just like, I came in here being like, well, I wasn't trafficked. Like, it was my choice. And it wasn't up until I got educated on the topic, then I learned I am a survivor of it. Because especially where I was emotionally, I would have just stayed there. If it was not for somebody else putting me into treatment, I wouldn't have gone, because I did not think that I was strong enough to pull myself out of that dark, hopeless hole, like that never ending hole of depression. Depression isn't even, I don't even feel like that sums it up. It's just like a shell of a human being, but I also didn't feel like I was a human being the way I was living. And that's not where I'm at today. Like, the shame and the guilt of doing those things, if I didn't have Jasmine Grace Outreach to talk about that, because like I go to meetings, I do step work, I have a sponsor, I have a very tight, close sponsorship family. Like, we have group chats, they're lit like all day, every day. I have women in recovery, I have all of these great things. But to raise my hand at a meeting and you know, talk about that stuff, it's not very easy. So targeted specifically to that topic, to be involved with Jasmine Grace Outreach is a complete blessing. I've learned so much. Like, I've learned that my story matters.
Amen.
I've learned that I have settled my entire life. I've learned that I am worthy of good people and good things in my life. I have learned that I can do whatever it is I want to do today, and it does not include getting high. The desire to use is gone, and it's the behaviors, obviously, and the patterns of thinking that I need to work on. But that's amazing, because I have the opportunity to do that. I have the opportunity to grow, because perfection, it's not attainable. And I try and strive for it anyways and drive myself crazy, but whatever. Like, it's okay. Like, I want to do better for myself. And that doesn't mean I want to make all the money in the world. I remember getting my first paycheck when I got clean, and I was like, this is gone. Like, to me, how, I don't understand. Like, I could have made this in, you know, this took me a whole week to make this check, and it's gone. And I sat in that for a very, very, very long time, just contemplating if I wanted to go back out to the lifestyle. And then I got this pit in my stomach, just being like, you're better than that. You don't have to do that. And like, that's the thing about this, is that I know I'm blessed, and I have a purpose. Like, one of my purposes is to share this to individuals who might be struggling with the same thing. Because I can sit here before you today and look put together, like have makeup on, and, you know, not look like I haven't eaten in a week. Like, I everything can appear great right now, but if you had seen me, like, when I came in, you know, my heart goes out to seeing, especially like women on the streets, because I know. And I would have judged myself, you know, if I didn't know what I knew now. Like, I would have judged myself, and I wouldn't have had faith that people can get better or people can change their lives around. But staying here and getting involved and building a network and building all different types of outlets and finding out who I am, and learning my worth, and learning that my body is of value.
Amen.
And to not accept unacceptable behavior, which has probably been like one of my biggest struggles, is relationships. To the point where like my sponsor's dating advice to me is like, just don't do it. Oh God, I love her. But yeah, I just, these patterns of thinking and behaviors are so deeply rooted within me that like I still have to heal what is at the center, or else like it's going to come at the surface. And the only thing I know is that I settled and now I'm not. And like, I don't know how else to say it. I feel like it sounds bad saying it this way, but like I'm coming for everything I've ever deserved. Like I am so focused. Like I started a business. I do art. Like I did this wall with a sponge. Like I am so talented, and like I feel like it doesn't make me feel guilty for saying that anymore. Like I love anything having to do with art. Like I started school. I have all of these possibilities before me. And like, I am that girl that came off of the street with, looking like she hasn't eaten, didn't take care of herself. I had no hope whatsoever. I wasn't strong enough to pull myself up. I saw other people do it, but it wasn't possible for me. And like, I was nothing and I was going nowhere. And life was never going to get any better for me. Like that's where I was. And now I sit before you where it's like I can walk down the street with my head held high. Like I can help other women. I can lead by example. I can be accountable. I can be responsible. I can be there to show up for my family. Like my father, I take care of him. He trusts me with his debit card and he runs a business. All of this money, like I don't understand. Like I think about this whole process and it just seems like this, where it's like, where has the time gone? But during it, it's like this process has been one of the most empowering things I've ever been able to experience in my life. And that's only because somebody put me into treatment. They wanted me out of their life. That's the type of person I was before I got clean. I don't know if they had a conscience. I'm almost certain they just did not want me around anymore. So they put me into treatment, and thank God for that.
Amen.
Because that is when I got some clarity to see that I did not have to live that lifestyle anymore. And life is absolutely amazing today. That shame and the guilt and like being in a relationship like with God, my higher power is God. I don't try to understand it. I just know that there's something out there that has cared about me even when I was lost and had no guidance. There were situations with whether it be addiction or prostitution, there were situations where there were dangerous situations. I don't know how I'm here. I don't know how my heart didn't give out with the amount of substances I was using and the amount of food I was not eating. I don't know how I survived. I don't know how bad things obviously happened, but I just don't know how I'm still alive today. But with the gifts and talents and most importantly, the ability to speak, I have to raise awareness. I have to for the addict who isn't here with us tonight because they did not find a better way to live. They didn't know it was possible, or they didn't think it was for them. Or this is for that vulnerable woman who whether she's changed her life yet or not. If she feels lost, like it's okay. The one thing that worked for me was that I didn't leave. Wherever I was at in recovery, I just stayed. I was too tired. I was too tired to do it. And I think about all of the things that I had to do to be where I'm at today. And when I heard that when I first got clean, it was a lot. It was a lot thinking about, and it overwhelmed me. So like my advice is to think about, just don't, just don't leave.
Yeah.
And life may not immediately get better, but like give yourself a chance, because you are worth it. And I just can't believe that I'm on live Facebook talking about all of these things.
Amen.
I've spoken at so many events.
You did an amazing job. I do have a question for Lou. I don't know, Lou, if there's any comments that you might want to read, or also to remind people if they want to call in, it's still a live show and you can call in at 978-659-0072. So Lou, if there's any comments or questions coming in, do you want to?
Well, our buddy Phil says it's his favorite show, so he just wanted to get that out there. Heather says these ladies are awesome, great, courageous young woman, and she says you are an inspiration. You are worthy. Reach for the stars. You are soaring. Heather's been very vocal during the show today. Hector says it was all God on your side. Heather says a minute at any time. So yeah, everyone's just wrapped by this story. So
Amen.
you know.
Amen. So before we go into a commercial break, I just want to put some numbers out there. If you or someone you know is being trafficked or involved in human trafficking and need an escape, there are some numbers that you need to be aware of. There's the National Human Trafficking Hotline, and that number is 888-373-7888. Or you can text Be Free, which those numbers are 233-733. You can also go to polarisproject.org. Also, there's a Massachusetts Domestic Violence Hotline, and that number is 877-785-2020. And the National Sexual Assault Hotline is 800-656-4637. All these phone numbers can be found on MVP ASAP's Facebook page and many other organizations, or you can always reach out to me and I can get you these numbers. So we're going to take a quick break and thank Jennifer for carrying an amazing message, and we'll be back with Nikki. So hold tight, folks. We'll be right back.
Hi there, my name's Phil Leahy, and I do the Empty Chair Show here. And as much as Fran and I have enjoyed doing this show, our real passion is with where it all began, the Circle of Hope, my support group for the families of addicts. I learned a long time ago that dealing with an active addict is just too difficult. So we invite you to join our group, the Circle of Hope. Give me a call, 978-886-2949, and you'll see our banner on the show anyway. And give me a call, find out what it's all about. You know, if you don't think you're ready to sit into a group, Fran and I always invite people over to the house, and we sit down, have a one-on-one, and we talk about a plan you'll have to set up, how to deal with someone in active addiction, or just give you a chance to vent. So, I mean, if you or someone you know has dealing with someone in active addiction, reach out, give a call, take the first step. I promise you that it won't make it easier, but once you understand what it's all about, you'll be able to deal with it a little bit better. So again, 978-886-2949. Just ask for Phil. I'm always available 24/7. Thanks, and we'll see you on the empty chair. Bye-bye.
So welcome back to the second half of the empty chair. And it is an honor and privilege to introduce Nikki to share her experience, strength, and hope. And, Nikki, just let spirit guide you, and you got this. So ladies and gentlemen, this is my sister in Christ, Nikki D.
Hi, Nikki. So my story starts out at a very young age. I was sexually abused from a young age by somebody close to me and my family. It was my brother, the oldest brother. So that in itself gave me a sense of like distrust for people, because this is someone that is supposed to like take care of me. When you think about a younger sister and an older brother, you think like the older brother is supposed to protect the younger sister. Well, mine did not. So this also gave me a lot of insecurities, a lot of it just messed me up in the head a lot. So when I was like 12, I started to like run away from home. I was stealing cars in and out of DYS. And this is kind of when my trafficking started. I met another girl that was a roommate of mine. She had told me, you can come home with me and my boyfriend, and we'll take care of you and things will be great. And so like when I got out of DYS, like that was the first person I called the next time I ran away. And I ended up going to live with her and her boyfriend, and it was okay for a month. And then like it was great. Like they took care of me, and in about a month, it was, oh, you can't live here for free. You have to pay your way somehow. And at that point I was like, what are you even talking about? Like I was invited here and like I didn't know what to think about this. And at first I refused to do what was asked of me. And then essentially I was like locked in a room and then like guys were sent in to have their way with me. And like this man was getting paid for this. And this went on for a while, went on for a long time. This was even before I was getting high or doing any type of drugs. It went on for a while, and then like I got up the courage to like run away and like leave them. But then it's like, what do I do now? Like, where do I go? Like I had nowhere to go. So at this point, like I've run away, and like I couldn't go home because like I would be in trouble because I ran away, and like I was afraid to go back to DYS, and I was afraid to be in trouble at home. So I just like stayed out in the streets. And like now in my mind I'm like, okay, well I know how I can get money now. So like then I started to do that for a little bit on my own, because like I knew that was an easy way to get money. Basically I was taught like, use what you have. From there, like I met like and went with like different pimps. I was with like walking through downtown Boston at the age of like 13, 14 years old. Like guys would like, these pimps would come up to me and they would be like, oh, I can take care of you, da 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 da. And so to me, with no place to go, like this sounded good to me. And I would go with these guys, and it was just like a cycle of physical, mental, verbal abuse. And like most of the time it was physical abuse. I was beaten because like that's how these guys would get their girls to listen. And it wasn't long before I was like maybe 15. I had stolen all the money from this pimp I was with. I don't know like why, like I still say stole it, but like it was kind of my money because like I made it. So I mean, I don't get like how I stole from him, but like he thought I stole from him and he wasn't happy about it. Um and So no sooner did I run off with that money, like I got robbed. So like I didn't even like get to spend the money. Like somebody took that money from me, like held a knife to me and took the money from me. So now like I go back to the same area and like he finds me, and like that night I thought I was gonna die. Like he beat me bloody, held a gun to my head. Like I honestly, like if his friend didn't come in and say like, bro, she's not worth it, like he would have shot me in the head and killed me. So and he was like, all right, so you're gonna make all that money back. And he would send me on these calls and dates and bring me there and like wait outside for me. And like my manipulative self got like one of the guys that I was sleeping with for money to like sneak me out through his garage. I like laid down the back of his car and he dropped me off at the train station and like gave me money, and I took a bus to New York. And like out there was the same thing. Like I met a guy and like I worked for him, and except this guy like introduced me to drugs. And I was dancing at a strip club out there, and came home from work one night and he was like, oh hey, here, try this. And it was crack. And I tried it, and like from that moment on, like I was in love. I was in love. But and at this point I was like 15. So but then I left him because like now I smoke crack, and like why do I want to give him my money? Because like I want to buy crack. So I left him, I went back to Boston, and like I need to say this because I always bring this up in my story. The sex trade is kind of crazy because like here I am like 13, 14, 15 years old, like roaming the streets of Boston, selling my body for money. And like there's cops driving by and like they know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And like they tend to look, they back then they would like tend to look the other way. I'm 37 now. There was so much of it going on that it was like a common occurrence down there. Like young girls just out there walking the streets selling their body. And like the police that like was supposed to protect us like would look the other way. And I don't know why. I don't know if they were scared. I don't know. I just don't know. So back to my story. I just had to say that. So I went back to Boston, and now I'm running the streets. I'm smoking crack, not just crack, like anything I could get my hands on. Like if it was there, I would do it. And like it took me a while to realize, a while after I got clean, to realize like that was what I was doing to like numb from the guilt and the shame and the like, because let's face it, like it's not fun jumping in and out of cars and like doing whatever for money. It's not fun. You know what I mean? And like anything to make myself forget that is what I did. So my life was a long cycle of going to jail, getting out of jail. I spent more of my life in jail than I did out. Going to jail, getting out of jail, doing drugs and doing it all over again. You know, I come from a long line of drug addiction. I have 2 sisters and 2 brothers, and we're all addicts. My mother, my mother's an addict. She was never really around until I was old enough to get high with. And then like, you know, I'm downtown Boston, I'm 16 years old, I'm selling my body, I'm smoking crack, and like I bump into this woman who I know is my mother. And like she starts running around getting high with me. So like that's kind of the relationship I've always had with my mother. Like she was my running partner, she was my running buddy. And like every time I would try to get clean, or even and vice versa, she would try to get clean when one of us was sober and the other one wasn't, and we came into each other's lives, we always got high together. Like we can never do it. So like I said, for a long time, like I ran the streets, I got high, like this was my life, this is what I did, and I never thought I would get out of it. There was a point in time where like I was sober for a couple of years, and I was living in Brockton, and I had my own apartment, and I had custody of my daughter, and I let my mother come live with me, and like I relapsed. You know, and when we talk about trafficking, like it was to the point where like my mother would be like, oh yeah, you want me to babysit? Go out, make some money. You know what I mean? So like essentially my mom was my pimp in a way. And it sucks. And you know, me and my mom, I still talk to my mom, but like we don't have a good relationship. And I don't think we ever will. You know, there's still some things I'm working on, and that's forgiveness for people. And I don't really, you know, but for a long time, I thought that was going to be my life. I thought I was going to die with either a crack pipe in my mouth or a needle in my arm. And then in 5 years, 4 months ago, I found myself in jail for sticking up a gas station. And from jail, I went to a program. I went to the Ryan House in Lynn. Program saved my life. That's where I met Anita. She was a staff member there. And that's where I learned. Yes, and Jen. I met Jen there too. But that's also like where I thought I learned about Bags of Hope. That's a good story. So I walk into the Ryan House and Anita's doing my intake, and you know, Anita introduces herself and she tells me all about like human trafficking and Bags of Hope and like God and all that good stuff. And a week later she comes up to me and she's like, Nikki, she was like, I know you. I gave you a bag. And I was like, what? And she was like, and Chelsea here on this street at this time. And I was like, what? And she went out to her car and she got this notebook that she writes down. She writes down the names of the women she gives bags to, and lo and behold, my name was there, Nikki D. And I got a bag while I was on the street, and you know, it was. I'm sure it was amazing. I really don't remember it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember much about that you know, time in my life. So that's how I got involved in Bags of Hope. I went through the Ryan House. You know, Anita asked me if I, you know, wanted to share my story. I've started sharing my story, and I've been involved with Bags of Hope since. I go to the annual event every year. This Saturday, actually.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about the event? First of all, tell us what Bags of Hope is, a little bit about Jasmine, and then also share about the event they have coming this weekend.
Yes. So I want everybody to, I apologize in advance. I'm all over the place when I speak. I don't know why. That's just how I am.
You're doing an amazing job.
Probably the ADD, but it's okay. It's okay. So Bags of Hope is what we do is we through donations we help women. We help women who are either still out there or in programs. We make these bags, and they have full size hygiene products, shampoo, conditioner, soap, wipes, pads, tampons, anything you can think of that a woman would need is in that bag. I'm very nervous right now, so I can't really think of it off the top of my head. I'm not gonna lie. But
do you want me to tell them?
Jen, you can jump
please,
in and
Jen,
a little bit about it.
Jump in.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, interrupt me, please. Please interrupt me.
So the annual event that we have is the biggest event of the year.
Yeah.
So we have a core list of items. There was actually a post done it on our Facebook last night, and because of everything going on, where if people don't want to come to a large crowd, donations are welcome. But on our Facebook at Jasmine Grace Outreach, it has all of the information. But yeah, there is, like Nikki was saying, the list of the core items, which shampoo, conditioner, things that like every day I take for granted. I forget that like I couldn't buy myself Q-tips because I had literally 25 cents to my name that I borrowed from somebody else. But these things that are taken for granted, but we welcome donations. We don't care if, you know, people don't want to stay at the event. Like if you just want to do a drive-by, we appreciate anything, because these bags go to women, just like Nikki was talking about, where they are given to women on the street. And there's so many different things that you can do just with bags of hope. But they go to women in programs, women on the street, jails. They also get Jasmine Grace books sometimes donated. We do speaker events. We go into halfway houses. We run groups. We do like art therapy. There's outreach in what's it called, Nikki? Where a recovery coach. They do like recovery coaching.
I'm a recovery
There's
coach, but I'll get
so
into
many
that in a
different
minute.
things. So I don't know if we can put a link for like our website or something, but yeah, the annual event is this Saturday, but we have so many
Where
events.
is the event and what time?
Oh, so it's from 12 to 3 on Saturday, and it's at Trinity Evangelist Church. I think it's off Haverhill Street in North Reading.
I can give you, it's on Haverhill Street in North Reading.
Okay.
So
Also,
yeah, stop by, bring donations.
yes,
Yeah.
we will all be there, but we're also going to be on Facebook Live as well.
Yeah.
Amen. And when you said live, so people can see it on the Jasmine Grace Outreach Facebook page is where it will be live.
Yep.
Correct.
And if someone wanted to do a financial donation, do you know where they would drop off a check or mail it to?
Probably
Sorry,
Jasmine
go ahead.
Grace.
Okay.
I can get you more. So it would probably go to Jasmine Grace Outreach or Jasmine Grace herself.
So she either has a Venmo or I believe we still work through. No, actually, we don't. If anybody wants to message the Facebook page, I think like 5 of us manage it, so we're very responsive. So financial donations are great. If you purchase one of her books for $25, you get a book, but then another one gets donated. But if you just want a book for yourself, it's $15. But yeah, all of majority of the time, if you just want to get in touch with us on Facebook, that's probably the easiest way to go.
Right.
Okay.
Nikki,
I know you became a useful member of society. And why
yes.
don't you talk a little bit about who you work for? Because I actually love Peter and Crystal. And tell a little bit about what house you're at and what you're doing with your life.
So I actually do many things. I'm actually I run a sober house for an amazing person, Peter York. It's the No Matter What house. So I run this sober house, and you know, through my journey, Peter and Crystal have been there for me. They've helped me. They've loved me. They've accepted me, and I am forever grateful for them. They've literally made me a part of their family, and that in itself is an amazing feeling. Aside from that, I work for Elliott Community Mental Health. I'm a recovery coach. I worked for the ACCS team for a long time, which was an outreach team out of Danvers. I recently transferred over to Boston. I'm working on the Mass and Cast project. I'm actually over at the Shattuck. I don't know if you guys seen it on the news, the Shattuck, the cottages over there. I'm working over there, and these people aren't necessarily sober yet, but we're working to help them get there. This is a great experience for me. Women come through there, men come through there, and these people are all struggling, and we're working to help them get sober and get housing. It's just a great experience. Through my journey, I've met so many people along my way: Jen, Jasmine, Anita, Peter, Crystal, and all these people play a different role in my life. But I respect and love them all equally, because like it keeps me going every day, just knowing that like people trust me and that like people care. I think it's very important to know that people care. Because for a long time being out there, I didn't think anybody cared. I didn't care. I didn't care. And in the beginning of my recovery, I had a hard time with relationships because of my past. And I haven't been in or thought about a relationship in like a year, and I'm okay with that. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm okay with going to work, coming home, and sitting by myself. I can sit with self today. And I used to hate myself. So, I mean, but that's big for me. So yeah, I mean, my recovery journey started at the Ryan House. And then I moved over into the No Matter What House, and now I run the No Matter What House. I'm actually right now going for my bachelor's degree in psychology. So yes, Jen, yes, I am.
Congratulations.
And I'm getting straight A's.
Of course you are. Absolutely.
Well, this semester I am. Last semester my average was a B, but I was saying to somebody, like, there was a time where like when I was younger, like you couldn't like pay me to go to school, and now I'm like, I'm paying to go to school. So it's like, and just like, and like, I don't want to be a psychologist. Like, I just want the degree. Like, I just want it under my belt. So, and like, not only that, like I'm happy with what I do. Like, I'm growing in the career of like helping people. And like, that's what I want to do with my life. So.
Well, I appreciate your time this evening, ladies. I appreciate your courage to come here and just share your experience, strength with me and listeners, and just putting it out there. It's a topic that needs to be discussed more. It's happening under our own noses every day. There was I had numbers in regards to how many phone calls between 10 and 2 came through in Boston for looking for individuals for sex, and the number was in the thousands, and that's one of the things I left at the office.
Do you know how many random guys that I've never met, I've never seen, don't know me from a hole in the wall, don't know that used to be my lifestyle, like hit me up on Facebook Messenger and are like, oh, you're looking to make some money? Like, just random.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know.
But today I can say, fuck off. Sorry.
It's okay. We still love you. So again, I just want to put some numbers out there. If you or a loved one are struggling, there is hope. You're looking at 44 years of recovery tonight on the show itself between the three of us. You're looking at 2 women who have escaped the human sex trafficking freaking arena, and they're alive to tell their stories. So there's hope for everyone out there. The National Human Trafficking Hotline, again, is 888-373-7888, or you can text Be Free, which that is 233-733. You can also go to polarisprojects.org, and that's POLARIS project.org. Massachusetts Domestic Violence Hotline is 877-785-2020. And the National Sexual Assault Hotline is 800-656-4637. Lou, do we have anything on there that we need to know about? Because you can see the screens and we can't.
Well, Francine had a couple of messages for Nikki. She said, I admire your honesty about your life. Your childhood story is so sad. You're a child with no love or boundaries, no parents to guide you. Hugs for you for turning your life around. And she said, you are loved and you're an intelligent woman too.
Thank you.
Peter Donato had good things to say for Nikki, and including you crack me up, Nikki.
Yeah.
Francine said, you're both amazing women who will inspire many. And Heather says in Massachusetts, 100,000 persons are experiencing this. And ML Shaw says, I'm so glad I turned in tonight. You're all amazing women. God bless.
So I just want to remind everyone before we tune out, this weekend they have an event. For more information, go to the Jasmine Grace Outreach Facebook page, or you can also drop off donations between 12 and 3 at the Trinity Evangelist Church in North Reading. But go to Jasmine Grace Outreach Facebook page for more information, or as always, you can reach out to me at 603-205-4752. And I just want to say thank you both again for sharing your experience, strength, and hope. And I will be back February. What day did we pick to come back, Lou?
February 10th is the next show.
February 10th, I'll be here with Tim Hinault and Greg Moulton. They'll be talking about a new detox center that opened up called the Mayflower. And they'll be sharing their experience, strength, and hope that evening. So until then, God bless and stay sober. And thank you, ladies, so much for your time tonight. Thank you, Lou.